Hey everybody, welcome to WhyBuy. Today we're going to be talking about the Milltek Sport valved, non-resonated exhaust system. Last year I did a review of my RS5, and that basically started this whole journey of taking a understated Audi and letting the V8 sound better. Now, way back when, I was interested in an RS4, and I actually came across a YouTube video where someone had taken a stock RS4 and fitted it with an X-pipe. It pretty much transformed the car, and I love the fact that there was potentially, this race car hiding behind one of these kind of ordinary looking cars. Really easy to do on my car, but what happens when you take a V8 with twin turbos? The Audi S6 isn't what you would call a sports car. It's kind of more of a business executive sedan. It's somewhere in between where the S8 is kind of a luxury cruiser and the S4 is a little bit more spirited and sporty. It's right in the middle there where you're kind of getting the best of both worlds. But really, if you're looking at a C7 or C7.5 S6, like my brother, you're probably looking for something that's a good daily driver, that's practical, and could be a good family hauler. The only real problem with the S6 is the V8 sound. Now, in its stock form, the turbos almost rob it of all that sound. When you look at the car, when you hear it, you would think it's just kind of hiding in there. It doesn't really make itself known. And granted, this is what the S6 was engineered for. It's got double insulated glass, it's got a lot of insulation in the cabin, so it's quiet. It's no wonder you wouldn't hear the shouty V8. It's not what it was built for. But for most enthusiasts who are buying V8s, you want to hear them. I remember when my brother bought the car and we went for a ride, both of us were excited and at the same time a little bit disappointed because it was like, awesome, V8, but you can't hear it. And immediately it was like, okay, we have to do something with the exhaust to try and, open it up a bit. And I thought back to when I was looking at the RS4 videos, Milltek was a name that kept coming up, and it was kind of in the back of my mind. I was like, oh, well, that would be a good place to start. So just to put it in perspective, Milltek is a European exhaust manufacturer. They do their testing at the Nuremberg, high standards for quality control, 304 stainless steel and whatnot. Its counterpart, I would say, in North America would be AWE. But AWE doesn't make a valved system for this car. So in the moments leading up to buying this full system, we tried looking for as many videos on YouTube that we could find to get a sense of what the car would sound like. Texting us videos at night, trying to find, well, listen to this and check this out. And really, it was kind of looking more and more like we were gonna have to basically get a full catback system. So unlike my RS5, where I could just do a simple X-pipe and resonator delete to get more sound out of the car, it was looking like we were gonna have to buy a full system, which is a lot of money. So out of the box, what do you get with the Milltek Sport system? Well, you get the left and right headers. You get the center silencer that's in an H-pipe configuration to replace the resonator. And then you get the mufflers at the back, which have the valves built in. So for installation, while you could do this by yourself if you had the patience and time, my brother and I just go to our friends at Motion Auto, and it's a clean, nice shop, and it was just an easier way to get the system installed quickly. The install process is actually pretty straightforward. You can remove the stock system in its entirety if you remove the bolts at the header, take off the exhaust hangers, and basically with a couple of support struts, lower the system down and take it out in all one piece. Couple of things though, when you remove the stock system, don't forget to remove the rubber bushings for the hangers and also the electronic actuators from the old mufflers. You're gonna need those on the new system. So let's talk about the more expensive valved mufflers and why it's important to have, especially on this car. So my RS5 and his S6 stock came with these actuators, and basically what it gives the driver manual control of is the exhaust tone. So whether it's louder or quieter, you can control, how the car is sounding. Now, what's important is you might want to have that if you want to be respectful of your neighbors, driving at early hours in the morning or in the evening. But more importantly for this S6, it's the cylinder deactivation. So the C7 and C7.5 Audi S6 have an eco mode, which is basically cylinder deactivation to get better fuel economy. Now, while this is only at cruising speeds, imagine taking a V8 and turning it into a 4-cylinder. It's one of the things that if you had the manual control to shut the valves, you don't get that drone and that kind of annoying sound, but it still maintains the computer controlled. When you step on it, the valves open, you get that full V8 sound. So for him, and even for me and my RS5, it's nice to have that control. And I think if you're buying this system and you're thinking, oh, I'll save some money and just get the standard mufflers, I'd say spring for the valve system. It comes in handy. Another question you're probably asking yourself is, do I go resonated or non-resonated? So I think the only thing that would hold you back is the fear of drone. Well, if your car has a valved system, you can stop that drone altogether. So another reason to maintain that in the mufflers. We did contemplate doing just a resonator delete on the S6, but it just didn't sound like it was going to get enough out of it. The other thing too that's really important with the center resonator or center muffler section is from the engine coming back out of the two headers, this is where the air converges. Now, the Milltek system, as it came from factory, was in an H-pipe configuration, which is basically you have the two sections of piping with a center section that connects the pipes. Now, based on the research that we did, an X-pipe configuration would be better for these kind of German V8 sounds because they actually converge and it creates a more consistent airflow, giving you that smooth tone. But if you want kind of that American muscle car sound, that's where you would want to go with an H-pipe because the way the air is connecting, it's inconsistent. In fact, our intention right from the get-go was to take the Milltek system and replace the H-pipe with the X-pipe straight away. But we didn't really account for the fact that you're going to need extra clamps, you're going to have to make cuts in the system, and it was just going to be more headache and time that we'd have to spend installing it. So what we did was we put in the full system for Milltek. We said, okay, let's start it up, see how it sounds. If we like it, we'll keep it that way. And if we want to change it, we still have the X-pipe. If we don't end up using it, we can return it and save ourselves a few $100. when you order your Milltek system too, you can configure the finish on the tips however you see fit. For us, the Cerakote black really suited the car well because with the black optics package and the gray, it looks like it blends in perfectly. But I think the other finishes are polished stainless steel, and you can also get brushed titanium. All in all, the install of the system was pretty easy. Everything matched up the way it should, and we didn't have any issues with aligning anything. It went smooth. The only issue that we had was one of the exit pipes out of the mufflers had been bent. So it looked like it happened maybe during transit, during customs, who knows, but I don't think it was a manufacturer's defect. It just made for fitting one of the tips really difficult, but with a little love, we're able to get it on. The other thing that made the install process difficult was the wiring harness. So in the rear mufflers, you have 2 wiring harnesses to engage the actuators to control the valves. Now, in stock form, with the Milltek mufflers installed, one of them doesn't quite reach, and you're gonna have to order that separately. So I think APR makes one that you can order. They're about 25 bucks. Just don't forget to order that when your exhaust comes in, because my brother had to drive around for a week with the valves only half open. So, you know, aside from those 2 things, it was really easy to get this done. After it being on the car for a while now, I actually think the H-pipe configuration suits the Audi S6. Overall, the system sounds great, and the kind of uneven airflow in the H-pipe gives it this like aggression and really just like a sound from hell. Valve control works perfectly at highway speeds. When the cylinder deactivation kicks in, there's no drone, there's no awkward moan from the engine. The other thing that you're gonna really like is the overrun. Those pops and crackles, they just sound so good. Whenever you hear them, when you're either driving or the car drives past, you just smile. And it just kind of, again, it brings this V8 to life. In terms of drawbacks, I think the only thing that we really noticed was a faint whistling at really low RPM, like idle. So we thought it might be that a valve got stuck kind of half open, or maybe it was the wastegate in the turbos. And we still have the X-pipe that we might retrofit. Maybe that'll fix the problem, but I honestly think it's so faint and you barely notice it that I wouldn't say it's a real downside or a problem. The last thing, and I don't know if I would call this a drawback, but it's the price. You're spending over 4 grand on sound. And I remember when I did the X-pipe on my RS5, I was debating spending 450 bucks, and that included install. But I think when you're buying a V8 and you want to hear it, it kind of makes the most sense as an aftermarket modification, is to be able to actually hear it. If you're hunting for a sedan that has a V8, it's almost mandatory that you get an exhaust system with it, because that's the whole purpose. They're not going to be making a lot of V8s anymore, especially in practical cars like this. So you might as well enjoy it, have some fun, and splurge a little, because it's kind of a unique time to own a car like this. And after seeing what this car went through from its stock form to what it has turned into now, it's awesome. So if you thought this video was helpful, please like and subscribe, show your support, and thanks for watching.
Brace for slips.
Family. That was pretty good. It completely transforms the car. It's like you take an executive sedan and then you turn it into a V8 monster. I have to warm up. It's cold. Oh, no. Oh, damn it. Nice. Oh, not nice. Foot. Why is everyone coming out right now? You know, normally it's not so busy on these back roads. It's like the first nice day we've had in a while, so of course everyone is out. Not as much battery as I'd like. Someone's trying to compete.
Somebody's fucking real with $5 in diesel.